Hi everyone, I'm Bridget Canning and I'm going to be reading the first chapter of my new book entitled Some People's Children, and it's due out next month with Breakwater Books. Part 1, Chapter 1, Fall 1986. Imogene wants out of this house before the store closes. She has enough change for a Charleston Chew Bar and about 5 double bubble. The coins are lined up in the side pockets of the kangaroo sneakers Maggie gave her. She was the first kid at school with zipper pocket shoes, but now the fabric over her big toe is near transparent. Nan and Great Aunt Bride are at the kitchen table for one of their big yak attacks. Their fingertips are ashy with tea bun flour. When they laugh, it sounds like 2 crows trapped in a wooden box. "Look, Bride," Nan says, "she got those shoes this spring and they're already wore through." "You're getting some big." Maggie was the same, grew up all of a sudden. She was an early bloomer. You'll be one too. Imogene does not want to talk about blooming. Bad enough they have to notice how big her feet are. Cousin Rita likes to say, Imogene's shoes are like pontoons. Nutrition is almost too good today, Great Aunt Bride says. Everyone's taller and girls start developing younger all the time. Sure, Dinah's daughter already wears a bra and she's only 10. Great Aunt Bride jiggles her head at the thought. She has puffy white curls and the tips are tinged with the last stains of blonde. From a distance, her head is a fresh popcorn kernel. It's true, Nan says. Even the Chinese that comes over and eats like us grow tall. And the early puberty. I didn't start my monthlies until I was 16. Imogene is gone at that, doors banging. But it's colder than she thought. She needs her mitts. The door leading in from the porch into the kitchen is open a crack. Nan and Great Aunt Bride now speak in regular, honest tones. She's sensible, Great Aunt Bride says. You don't have to worry about her. I know, but it started so young with Maggie. It would have been different if Gus hadn't passed, or her brothers were home. That bastard would have been too scared to touch her. Gus was intimidating. Maggie minded her father, but I never knew what to do with her. As soon as she developed, it was men sizing her up. And she knew it too, the way she'd walk, her chest stuck out. Deep down, I knew she'd end up with a baby. Imogene slips back outside. Her stomach shifts in confusion. She stuffs her bare hands in her pockets and makes her way up the path. The tops of the mud puddles are frozen, but hollow inside, and the ice shatters like glass when she steps on them. She does it to each one in her way. The tang in Nan's voice was the same sound she makes when she talks about the price of getting the transmission fixed on the car. Everything is urgency and high cost. Last week on the ride to school, her cousin Rita used a saying Imogene hadn't heard before. Anyone can get their skin off her, Rita whispered as Rosarie Kosh climbed on the school bus. Mrs. Kosh brought back a crimping iron from when she was last in Corner Brook. Rosarie's blonde hair hung down her back in perfect crinkled strips like fried bacon, her hips swaying in tight faded denim. Imogene thought Rosarie looked beautiful. She'll be getting her skin tonight, Rita said, corkscrewing her elbow into Imogene's side. Imogene nodded. She thought of Rosarie Kosh with her arms outstretched, receiving a neatly folded blanket made of some kind of skin, like cured leather. Rosarie passing on the skin to someone else. This can't be what it means. Imogene starts down the road to the quick stop. Maybe someone will offer her a ride, although really she doesn't want to talk to anyone. Imogene would like to avoid the road altogether and walk along the beach all the way to the store, but there aren't many places to climb up the banks. They would be solid now, but they soften in the spring, and you can sink into the mud. Aubrey Murphy has lost a sheep or two like that. She feels the wind lift her hair and shake it as if to see if it will come loose. One time her hair was blowing all over the place, and Rita said it looked like her head was on fire. When Rita makes comments like this about Imogene's red hair, it's never clear if she's joking. Imogene pulls up her hood. There's always some kind of wind in St. Felix's, sometimes a cold wind off the water to spoil a warm summer's day, or a wreck house blast that gouges the breath from your mouth and tries to suffocate you right out in the open. A pickup truck passes. It's Rosarie Kosh and her dad. His fingers rise briefly off the steering wheel. Imogene waves back. Rosarie is 16, a year older than Maggie when she had Imogene. It must have been a scandal. Last year, everyone talked about that girl in grade 12 who had a baby, Susan Benoit, but everyone knew Dan Snow was the father. No one knew who Imogene's father was, so it must have been big news. Maggie will likely call tonight. She calls every week from Markham, where she lives with a man named Robert Cronin. Robert Cronin is a real estate agent, a nice man with thick, ashy hair and crinkly eyes. Good for Maggie, Nan likes to say, just what she needs. Both Nan and Maggie agree on that. A good man is good for Maggie. When Maggie and Imogene speak on the phone, Maggie talks about the real estate projects she and Robert Cronin work on. Their focus is primarily in the GTA, but Maggie says they plan on buying at least one property in St. John's. If you decide to go there for university, Maggie says, you'll have a place to live. And later she'll say, Robert says hello, and Imogene will hear him saying, hello, from some nearby room or the opposite side of the table. Then Imogene will hand the phone to Nan, who listens and sighs and clucks her tongue. Imogene starts down the hill towards the quick stop. The Sampsons' van is parked in front. Good, they're home. Even though the quick stop is supposed to be open until 5, sometimes they close up early, and then you're shit out of luck, as Doug Sampson says. It's getting close to 4:30, which means Loretta Sampson leaves the door leading from the store to their house open, so you can see they're getting ready for supper and won't waste time shopping. 3 figures bounce out of the store and yank bikes off the ground. Maybe it's Quincy and his cousins, or Nick Cleary. Nope, by the way they move, it's definitely Liam and Randy Lundergan and Donnie Martin. Frig. She sweeps her hair back and composes her face, eyes cool, chin out. The wind comes up from the bottom of the hill and makes water in her eyes. It gives the boys an extra push, and they bounce towards her, jogging the pedals of their bikes. They pant and grin. Liam Lundergan aims the front wheel of his bike at her and hunches forward, eyes slurred. She forces her legs to keep moving. Liam's pale hair blows forward around his face like a bud of dandelion silk. He waits until he's about 2 feet in front of her to squeeze the handbrakes. Randy and Donnie squeak to a stop behind him. Donnie plants both legs on the ground and plucks his jeans off his arse. Randy snorts and rumbles snot in the back of his throat as if to hawk it, but he doesn't. It's too windy for that. Not chicken much, Liam says. Don't need to be. Where are you going? Store. Getting smokes for your Nan. My Nan don't smoke. She tries to step around the front wheel of Liam's bike, but he pushes it forward. There's a crust of something reddish-brown near the edge of his mouth, and he has dried sleep in the corners of his eyes. He wipes his hand on his shirt, red and black checkered flannel covered with about 10 million flecks of lint and mystery stuff. He reaches out and runs a finger along her sleeve. Nice coat. Where'd you get it? It is a nice coat. Maggie sent it last Christmas from Toronto. It hangs past her hips, corduroy and a kind of deep fuchsia. No one else in St. Felix's has a coat like it. My mom got it for me. Your mom's good at getting all kinds of things, isn't she? Frig off. She is good at getting things. She got you, didn't she? He grins at her. Tiny crack lines appear in the crust on his mouth. Imogene steps over the wheel of his bike and keeps on. The wind blows their laughter out of her ears. When she gets close to the bottom of the hill, she looks back. They are gone, pedaling fast with the wind support. Thank you.